iHeart Podcasts. Hear more Gold 101.7 podcasts,
playlists, and listen live on the free iHeart app.
Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
Our next guest is an architecture aficionado, a comic, an extraordinary man. We love him, Tim Ross. He's got a new book called What a Ripper. We've been looking at it all morning. We just love it. A nostalgic look at Australian designs and products from the 60s. Hello, Tim.
Here he is.
G'day, how are we?
What have you brought with you for show and tell?
Well, I've bought it is show and tell. It's the Decor wine cooler.
Yeah.
So you talk about things that are Australian, and your producers out the front, they were all going mad over it because they all remember, them when they were kids.
Is this an Australian design? I never knew it.
So what would happen, you go off to the Chinese restaurant.
Yep.
And you put your 2 bottles of Riesling in either side.
Yes.
And then you put it on the table and then you leave it there, go drive home drunk, and then have to buy another one.
Because there was a time when you were seeing those out on junk piles, but not anymore. Because
They're very collectible. But what made them so special is they had a little cylinder in the middle.
Yep.
That you fill up with water, put it in the freezer, and that keeps your drinks really cool.
Man.
But the wonderful thing about it was that super nice design, but it won the Prince Philip Design Award in 1979. Prince Philip liked it so much he took one home to Buckingham Palace.
Right.
And it's also in the Museum of Modern Art's permanent collection.
Really?
Yeah, it's a piece of Australian design.
I was reading, and how does this happen? Was it true that the Queen was involved in the invention of Aerogard or something?
Yeah, so what happened with Aerogard was that before World War II, there was this gentleman at the CSIRO who was making a fly repellent for sheep. And then World War II broke out and they needed something for the troops. And so he adapted it to be like what was Aerogard. And then as soon as the war was over, they just went, let's go back to looking after sheep. So he went back working at it to stop them from getting sheep dip or whatever it is, or whatever, fly blown. And then when the Queen came out on the tour in the 1950s, they were worried about her doing the Australian salute on television. So someone rang up the CSIRO and said, have you still got that muck that keeps the flies away? They gave it to the Queen. She used it. Someone noticed on TV that she wasn't shooing them away. So Mortine rang up the CSIRO because there was a big news story, rang up the CSIRO and said, what's this formula? And in those days, CSIRO, if you rang up, they would give you whatever research.
Yes, you couldn't patent the stuff.
No, so they just gave it to Mortine and they created Aerogard.
Whoa.
Wow.
They got it for nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
Have
Some
a
of the
Mr.
stuff
Walker.
in that book, it's so nostalgic. It's the Wilshire knife and sharpener that you
It's
mount
curious.
to your wall.
We're doing renovations on the kitchen. There's a Wilshire Stay Sharp knife block attached.
Attached to the... I don't reckon they worked.
No knife in them. And the young tradie was just demolishing the kitchen. I went, oh, what? And he goes, what even is this thing? And I said, you put a knife in it. And he said, wow, that must have been fun in the olden days. So I've got it. I've put it in my garage now because it's exactly like the ones on the cover of your book.
And also there's the cafe bar. I didn't know that was an Australian invention. I was with Beyond 2000. I was at the Jet Propulsion Lab doing a story on the future of space exploration. And they're using a cafe bar and the powdered milk. Gunk, gunk. I'd love a cafe bar now.
Well, go down to your local Thai pal. Most of them have still got one in there.
Cafe bar. Yeah,
But they call them cockroach coffins because the cockroaches used to get in the back. And I mean, it's really just a fancy urn, but they came in all these wonderful colours.
Yeah.
And people loved them. And then right at the end, they were making them and they were updating, and the guys who designed it said to Cafe Bar, we've got this idea which was a bit like the Nespresso.
Yep.
And they didn't commit. They stayed with the...
Oh, I bet their grandkids are kicking themselves now.
Could have been them.
Yes.
The Caroma bathroom stool.
Yeah, well, this is a great invention because they were originally for, to put in your bathroom. And then in the late 1970s, those tabletop arcades like Space Invaders and Frogger came in. And so they were adapted and everyone sat on those to play the machines.
Why would you use it in your bathroom? To do your makeup or something?
I put a towel on or something. I don't know. I actually really don't know.
Yeah. And you could assemble it because it came in 2 bits.
And you could take the top off like a Frisbee. But also in those days...
And you could put stuff inside it.
Yes. You were talking about when they were putting carpet in bathrooms in the 1970s.
Yes.
And so it was very much heightened. It was all those oranges and browns and yellows.
Yes, and all the TV
avocados.
ads and shows, women sat down in front of a mirror to put their makeup on. So you probably need... When you say stool in a bathroom now, it means something a little different.
I mean, you think about it, it's a long time ago and a different time. You were talking about Robert Irwin, doing this Tourism Australia thing. And, when Hogues did that campaign, everyone was sceptical that it was going to work. Hogues was a big star. But you got to think about 7 or 8 years before that campaign, he was involved in one of the most successful television campaigns of all time to launch one of the most successful products of all time. It was a cigarette called Winfield.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that cigarette came out of nowhere. And it was so successful straight away because Hoag's had sold it to people that, when he read
Anyhow,
Winnie
have a
Blue's
Winfield. I still remember.
extraordinary campaign. And they sent, because at that stage, Camel were the biggest cigarettes anywhere in the world. The Americans couldn't work out why Camel had disappeared. What's this cigarette brand? So they sent someone out first class to work out what it was. They go, it's this guy called Paul Hogan.
Wow.
So if he can sell us smokes, he could sell Australia to the world.
I remember going on a school excursion to 2SM and Paul Hogan was there doing ads for Winfield.
Yeah.
And I saw him and I said, "G'day, Mr. Hogan. My dad smokes Dunhill." And he ruffled my hair and he said, "Good on you, Spider." And
Why isn't your nickname Spider?
And that's what when back in those days, you go, "G'day, Spider. What are you doing, mate?"
You worked on a rock station. Rock Spider doesn't sound so good.
Amanda.
But it's interesting. He came on a show I was doing at 9 once, and it was, I remember him just having this 28-inch waist.
Yeah.
Tiny guy. And he was in the green room and just lit up a smoke, opened up the window. It was amazing. It's like, all right, it's Hoax, why not? Yeah, okay. I'm not going to tell you not
That's
to
how
smoke.
you get a waist like that.
Yeah. Man, this is the
Eating's
greatest book.
cheating.
This is the greatest book ever.
Oh,
It's
thanks,
just
mate.
It's just out in time for Father's Day and Christmas.
It is a beauty.
I just love
really
it.
is.
And the ever-ready dolphin torch, that lantern when the dolphin and it get flicked around everywhere in the
classic.
pool.
Every picture,
I've
every
still got
item
one.
is a kick in the heart, isn't it? It is a visceral memory from your childhood.
Can I say something? I'm sure the answer is yes,
Yes.
because I could be flogging my book. But I did want to say that as a friend, as a colleague,
Here we go.
and someone who was once a competitor with you guys, I've been thinking a lot today about your legacy as a breakfast show.
Sure.
While I was driving and listening to Fitzy and Whipper. No, and I think it's really important that I think you've understood what the privilege of waking up with this city, and you've been incredibly important to so many of us. And we're going to love you on Drive, but we're going to miss you on breakfast. And I think in terms of it's one in terms of the history of FM breakfast shows. I think you'll be the most loved, and that's the most important metric of them all.
Oh, Tim, that's
wow.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to say that, because I think you guys are fantastic. And if there's one thing that sort of sums up your relationship, and I think it speaks a lot, and I don't think everyone will listen to your show in the same way, but it's the softness in the way that you say each other's names. And I think there's something incredibly beautiful about that.
You've made Amanda go the blob.
You have.
Look at this.
We thank you, Tim. And we've loved doing breakfast. And we could have, we're not the sort of people that want to smash up an alarm clock. We're not those people. But we are excited about doing a drive show. But we've built, I hope, a great relationship with our listeners for 20 years. And we want everyone to come with us to drive.
Yeah.
To listen in the morning, sure, and breakfast, please. But please come with us to drive. And thank you for your lovely
It's a
words.
nice thing.
Oh, I think you treasures. You really
Treasures.
are.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll be in What a Ripper 2.
Yeah.
Like Rip Snorter 76, Amanda or I could have our bum cheek with all the contents.
You should do that. I love that record.
It's sitting a little low.
It means a lot for you to say that. Thank you
It
very
does.
much.
Thank you, Tim.
Good on you guys.
Buy the book, What a Ripper, 60 Everyday Objects That Shaped Australia by Tim Ross. Thank you, sir.
Good on you guys.